it almost feel in Minnesota at least, you almost get the hints of spring, and I know it's a false start, but it's still, I like when things come early and then even if they go back, you can still see where it's going, you know? I love that about spring. The great thing about spring is it's a promise, right? It will actually come, right? A direction has begun, right? Um, so I've been thinking a lot lately about breath for a wide variety of reasons, but um, one of the things that just to overview some things. So like from like a science point of view, so you have like breath is one of those funny things where it's an involuntary process, meaning that if you were to pass out, you'll still breathe, right? So your body is going to make you continue breathing. So it's involuntary, right? But it's one of the few involuntary processes that we have direct control over. So it's actually bridging like this gambit. It's one of our only opportunities to actually have an intersection between a voluntary a process that bridges both worlds, right? So within us, right? And then within that, so it's autonomic on one level, part of the autonomic nervous system, which itself breaks into two parts, right? So there's the sympathetic part of your autonomic nervous system, which is the kind of the infamous famous fight or flight part, which is like it's kind of the part of our nervous system that developed in order to deal with threat, right? Either you see something coming in your environment, you're either gonna fight it or you're gonna run, right? So it's the part of the nervous system. Remember, our nervous system, and we survived because our nervous system found a balance between how to perceive what's outside of us, right, and also what's inside of us, right? And so your fight or flight would be like an autonomic. It's so embedded in us. It doesn't take any mental judgment. Like you can have reactions of fear without being conscious of what you're afraid of, right? So and then so that's the sympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system, and then there's the parasympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system, which is it brings you back to homeostasis. So these two parts are supposed to balance each other, right? So you've got the ready to go, or run, or lean into it, and then you've got this balancing part, okay, and that they're supposed to come into balance. And people, like for example, that have gone through a lot of trauma, their parasympathetic nervous system, or the part that's supposed to mellow you out, right, is actually out of whack often. So they get agitated in the fight or flight thing, right? And then they never come back to homeostasis. So, and that's why they're hyper vigilant and they're, startle easily and all these things. But research has shown, for example, that the inhalation, right, is more of a taking in energy and taking in, it's like an invigorating thing. But if you want to create more a move towards the one that's supposed to even you out and mellow, calm you down, it's exhalation that actually helps that, right? That there's some very basic rudimentary research that if you want to calm yourself down, sure, an inhalation is good, that's invigorating, but it's more of exhaling. So be more aware of your exhalation, right? So again, so your breath is already, without you having any control of it, it's involved in processes and the release of certain proteins and chemicals in your body that are autonomic, but yet you get to be more aware of both. So we're going to talk more about the inhaling and exhaling through this class. So just sit up straight and tall. And again, one of the, think about when you're really tired and you finally sit down or finally get into bed. It's like a big exhale. Or after you've gone through something that's been kind of stressful, often there's that come down period, right? So, and your body does naturally exhale in those states. So just start to allow. And as soon as you start the process of allowing, let it happen on an exhalation. And then observe the inhalation, right? You get to feel that too, and that's the expansion. But one of the great things about, I hope that over time, you learn how to exhale stress better, right? Like get to that calming part, right? The calming part of what you are is actually a survival skill. So on these next few breaths, you're just feeling remember your breath is an energy exchange, right? So you just feel the inhalation coming in and then the letting go that happens on the exhale. And so this process is going to be continuous, right? And if people that when you think about it, when you take in a fright, you typically take it in a quick, short inhale, right? It's going to get a part of your nervous system when it does that, right? And then you're letting go. And so on these next few exhalations, just like slightly let the exhalation go a little bit longer. And then watch smoothly start it up again. Feel the inhalation. And don't worry about the length of that, but just really let the exhalation really. So this process of bringing in energy and letting it go is continuous, and you don't have to be aware of it. Now, asana can layer into that, and yet that process is continuous. So start to feel your feet and your sitting bones. Bring more alertness to your spine. So part of why we want you to feel your base is so you can start to lift your chest, which is going to help you receive the inhalation a little bit, as long as you don't grip too much. So in this centering, bring more awareness down the inside edge of your groin, down to your knee, down to your heels. Keep the spine alert, the back body moving slightly forward, right? Lifting of the collarbones. Being in better preparation for the inhalation. But then exhale from the back ribs gently and stay alert. And as your spine gets sturdy and more alert, the process of inhalation and exhalation is still continuous, right? You just added underneath it, or a stability underneath a process that is continuous. Close your eyes from top to bottom if you haven't. And now stay sturdy in your body, but release around the temples, the jaw, the inside of the mouth. Relax your belly to relax your throat, because the most connected part of you is the emptier part of you, right? And you're trying to let that emptiness have stability from your body. And the breath is continuous. Energy's coming in, processed, and then something is released. Let go of your day. Prepare your mind to do yoga. Good. And then release. Now, as you release, I want you to lift your sternum up towards your chin and your chin down over your sternum. So I want you to add an extra level of effort and stability and complexity, and yet still try to receive the inhalation and ground on the exhalation. Elongate on the exhalation through your spine. Fill up the vessel on the inhalation. Come into an extension on the exhalation. But it's still a letting go. Good. And then raise your head up with closed eyes and open your eyes. Just some things I want you to make you help you be aware of, and not in every moment. And I don't do this all the time, but I want you to notice the difference between. So take an inhalation and then pause just ever so slightly on the top of the inhalation, and then let the exhalation go, and then pay attention to the bottom of the exhalation, the slight pause there. And then start the inhalation again. Be aware of the pause, and then exhale and be aware of the pause. And see if you can notice a qualitative difference between the top of the inhalation and the brief pause there and the bottom of the exhalation. And then just go back to normal breathing. So on this ask yourself this question the next time you're at the top in a second, like at the top of the inhalation, the slight pause, and the bottom of the exhalation and the slight pause. Which one are you likely more to go to sleep with? Like the quality of it, right? Very rarely do you prepare to go to sleep at the top of the inhalation, right? Just notice the qualitative difference about how one's slightly more exciting, it creates energy. And the pause is like ready for something. And then at the bottom of the exhalation, there's like, that's how you land in bed. And so just watch the quality differences between those two pauses. And when you start to do that, it starts to make sense why the bottom of the exhalation or the exhaling might bring you more in line with the homeostasis, the calmer state of your nervous system. And thank goodness for the inhalation and the preparation for action, right? But there's an appreciation at the top too of the fact that you've become more alive. So this interplay of back and forth between two different aspects of the nervous system is in play in movement and action, right? Being able to sustain structure on exhalation is part of an asana. Feeding the asana is part of the inhalation. All right. So we're just going to do some movement for a while. The good thing is that you can just move and you're breathing. Again, because it's autonomic, you don't have to pay attention to your breath all the time. That's freaking cool, right? All right. So lean over to your right. Do you notice that you maybe naturally exhale as you lean over to your right? and then lean over to the left. And then come forward. And then come back. Now screw up your brain a little bit and try to come forward on an inhalation. How's that work for you? Doesn't that feel strange? Okay, and then come back. That literally, it's counterintuitive for you to lean into your life on inhalation, right? You're gonna take in your life and then lean into it with calm, right? As opposed to, I can barely even do it. I'm gonna try to inhale as I come forward. It's just completely counterintuitive. It makes my neck grip, it makes my diaphragm grip. It's just not what's natural, right? And so your inhalation is a preparation. Calmness should be where the movement comes from, right? And so, and then come on back. as you come back, right? It's kind of natural to inhale. And then take an inhalation and exhale and come forward. Right? And then go off to the side again. And then off. So again, try to do something. So inhale as you come up. Lift off your seat. Inhale, right? And then again, try to scoot up your brain, right? Try to exhale as you lift up. So then it gets separate from the movement, right? It has to you have to grip it. And then hang there. So have less weight on your sits bones, more space between here and here. So lift up whatever degree you can. Lift your chest. And when I do that, I have harder time breathing. When I'm kind of suspended in midair, I can't take as deep a breath. See what's true for you. So even if you just take some weight off your sitting bones, right? And if you're acting a little bit, right, like pushing, and maybe just more true for me because I'm paralyzed from the chest down, right? All right, so exhale, come forward. Inhale, push up and come back. Exhale, come forward. This time on an inhalation, come back and take your left arm straight up over your head. Exhale it forward again. Both inhale, take your right arm up. Exhale it, come forward. Inhale, take the left arm up and back. Exhale it forward. Inhale. Exhale it forward. Now, because you're moving, remember the other thing about your breath is that it introduces change. So at the bottom of the exhalation, and then the breath, the voluntary part of it, the inhalation, introduces movement and change, which just gets you ready to engage in life, right? So this time, I want you to, when you inhale and take your left arm up, I want you to keep your mind, attention in your sitting bones and the bottoms of your feet. So stay in the whole vessel. Inhale up. Now stay here and exhale and lengthen your arm even longer. Down through your sitting bones. And now inhale and extend beyond your fingertips. Exhale down and up. So you're exhaling, but you're reaching. So both, and then take your arm down. So both your inhalation and your exhalation are in service of the asana, right? Of the movement. Inhale. Exhale, ground down. And by grounding down, extend beyond your fingertips. And then again, feel it expand. And then as you exhale, reach even farther, not just physical, right? And then back down. And then inhale again up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Feel your feet, your sitting bones. Exhale down. Inhale. Take your arm back. Exhale it forward. Put your hand down on your thigh. Right. Let me change my camera a little bit. So we're just trying to start to coordinate arm movements, right? So now inhale wide. Exhale down. Inhale wide. I'm into my plant over here. exhale, down, right? Inhale wide, open across here, hit through your sitting bones, bring the shoulder blade back in the shoulder girdle. Exhale, solidify the pose. Inhale, arm wide, open through here. I'm tighter through here, so I have to pay attention. Feel my feet, my sitting bones, and then exhale it back. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale back, exhale down. Inhale back, exhale down. Inhale, spine, go up over the back of the chair. Exhale forward. Inhale, exhale down. Inhale, push. Hit the back of the chair. Take the left arm up. Exhale down. Come forward. Inhale, take the arm all the way up, over the back of the chair. Exhale down. Again, now inhale, take your arm up. Exhale down. Inhale all the way up, feel your feet, your sitting bones. Exhale down. Lean over to the left, right. Inhale up. Exhale down. Lean over to the left. On an exhalation, probably. Inhale, expansion. Exhale down. Inhale, go over to the other side. Inhale, expansion. Feel your feet, your sitting bones. Exhale into the center. We'll lean over. Inhale up. Exhale down. And then sit in the center. So this coordination of breath and movement, in some ways you can feel the fatigue in your body, but it's also kind of mentally fatiguing. Because this is a process that we're not usually making so conscious. You would actually just be feeling it, right? And doing it. And maybe not coordinating your breath. So sit in the center. Come back to symmetry. Start going inward enough to feel the difference between the top of the inhalation and the bottom of the exhalation. And then take your legs wide a little bit. So I'm really spastic today. So my legs are not gonna like this today. I didn't get to practice this morning. So I'm just gonna sit here for a second. I'm gonna find in the change, I'm gonna use my breath and especially my exhalation. Right? So like when you're in pain, like, and because we all have a lot of chronic pain, right? Some of us at least, right? Exhalation is going to become really important. So even when you introduce change, right? So now, inhale. So my legs sound like this, right? And I'm with my legs wide. I'm opening my chest. I'm taking a couple of breaths between exciting my nervous system and exhaling and calming my nervous system. And then exhale down. And I'm just trying to notice the difference. Inhale up. Exhale into a sense of grounding and expansion. Again, inhale and notice the excitation. And then on exhalation, come on now, bring your muscle more towards the bone. So think about the inhalation as like an expansion, and the exhalation, when it comes to the muscle and the bone, like the exhalation, like streamlining, like bringing it into a narrower space by bringing the muscle to the bone. So inhale, up again. Feel the expansion on your rib cage. And then exhale and bring the muscle to the bone of the arms. Lengthen off of your sitting bones. And then fill up the vessel again from the rib cage out. And then extend farther into the pose. So on exhalation, bring the shoulder blade into the body. Good. And then exhale back down. And again, we're trying to play with how the inhalation and the exhalation can help the pose, right? I'm inhaling up as part of the expansion. I'm exhaling. And as I'm extending, part of my energy is going back towards the midline, right? So it's especially on exhalation that I feel my legs. I kind of draw the inhalation out of my legs and then exhale back into my legs and then back together. So what I want you to get, so there's a reason why I'm not instructing your legs to push down right now and to make it physical, right? Because I want you to get the way that the energy can distribute on exhalation and can streamline. And then that energy can help you physically act better, right? Right. So again, so now we're going to add the instruction to the legs. So your legs are wide, right? And so grounding here, like, so I'm going to lean over and just for a second as preparation, I'm going to push on my femur bone and lengthen my torso. So I'm grounding my legs as I'm expanding my spine. Because that's happening on inhalation, right? Okay, and then go the other way. That's what I have to be more careful of, right? So I'm grounding, right? And inhaling and exhaling and grounding. Yeah, and then come on back to center. So now we're going to go to the first side. Inhale, exhale, and then inhale the arm up. Now extend down through the back leg, ground the front leg, let the inhalation hit the rib cage into all the arms and legs, but be slightly more active in your legs and lengthen your spine. And then on exhalation, extend and streamline through the limbs from the spine. And then come on back to center. So we're going to do the other side. Exhale over to the side. I'm going to inhale, take my arms up. Now I'm going to more actively, on exhale, extend through my legs. And as I do, I'm wanting to extend through my arm. So my inhalation is filling and puffing the vessel, arms and legs. And my exhalation is streamlining it into action. Good, and then come on back to center. Bring your legs together. Ground. Remember, take a few breaths and watch. the difference between when you have air in your body and what happens when you release it. And try to bring the inhalation and the exhalation into balance. Because in pranayama, ultimately, you want to have the inhalation and exhalation balanced. You want there to be a balance between excitability and calming. Good, and then release. If you think about exhalation again, remember that brings the calming part of the nervous system, right? But you can also imagine someone whose nervous system is too much about kind of the collapse that happens on exhalation, right? That there's so like kind of like the exhaling, let it just be heavy, like you give up. That person that's having their nervous system weighted too far that way is going to be more subject to depression, right? Because they're being heavy all the time, right? And so what you want is structure, and then let the exhalation happen. So it's not, except when you're trying to sleep, right? Right. So you can imagine how inhalation, and then keep the structure even as your nervous system gets calmed on exhalation, right? So you're doing both. So, and then you bring it either hands on your legs, on a table, because we want to just lengthen the back again, right? So I hope you figured out that I really want you to how to make space between your legs, your sitting bones, and your torso, right? That space, I think, really, really matters. So whether you're doing it on a table, right, or if you're coming down on your forearms, right, because you want to keep safety and grounding, right? I want you to inhale and use the expansion to help your sitting bones into your seat of your chair, but also to lift your lower abdomen. And then when you exhale, I want you to lift your chest more. So to lift your chest on exhalation, I want you to come forward with your back ribs, right? But all this is happening as you're lengthening and creating space between your legs and your low back. Good, and then release. So one of the instructions I give a lot, I want you to learn more about it now, is when you're leaning forward, I often say, press, of course, keep the straight line, press down through your feet, your inner heels, right? But then often, and I'll tell you to lift your chest, but often I tell you to spread your low back, spread across your sacrum, right? So as you are forward this time and grounded, spread across your sacrum, especially on the inhalation. Lengthen your spine on exhalation more. Inhale and use your diaphragm, spreading the lower diaphragm as part of the inhale. Lift your chest. Exhale and let more of the attention go to the lift of the chest. And then release. So you got to remember that your breath can be utilized. Remember, you get voluntary control on an involuntary process. So come forward again. As you inhale, fill the vessel, but especially spread across your sacrum. Notice where your feet are on the pedals or on the floor. And then as you exhale, don't worry about spreading the sacrum as much, but extend through your feet and lift your chest. So the inhalation is giving a horizontal expansion, and the exhalation is a lengthening. And we're practicing this without arm movements or gravity shifts. So we're practicing this like basic relationship between inhalation and exhalation, between expansion and streamlining, when safety is met because you're more, and activation is met because you're in their center of gravity. Now, poses are going to challenge this, right? You're going to be asked to go off balance, off center, and still be able to get back to this more grounded place. So your breath can be more dynamic. So now, lean over to the right. Find the legs across the sacrum on the inhalation. Exhale into length. Inhale. Exhale, lengthen the spine and extend out through the fingertips. Inhale, feel the expansion. Exhale, come into a streamline. Inhale, roll the chest up. Exhale, lengthen from the sitting bones beyond the fingertips. Let the expansion come to the rib cage, to the whole body on inhalation. Let the streamline come on exhalation. Good, and then come on back to center. So I can totally feel the difference between the sides. I like that. I like it when I'm hungry to create the sensation of symmetry. I like it when I'm hungry or longing for balance on the subtle body, right? So come over, right, and you're lengthening this way. Feeling the expansion in the pelvis on the inhalation. Or broadening your sacrum. Exhaling into length. Inhaling. And so you're lengthening this way, opening this way. Exhaling and lengthening through your spine and therefore through your arms. Inhale, invigorate again. Exhale, streamline. Inhale, and then exhale over the head. Lengthen in the streamline. Inhale and revolve the chest towards the ceiling. Feel the legs. Exhale and elongate back to the streamline. Inhale, expand and revolve. Exhale, lengthen. Good, and then come on back to center. Be in the center. So now I feel more balanced. Now I've got to be careful what I'm doing next, and you can either do the same pose again, or now I'm going to change my base. And so in a way, by making my legs go wide, I'm being slightly more like a standing pose. But I know that it'll affect my balance. And so although I get to have my legs wide, I actually trade some of the yoga for the gravity shift, right? So I have to be extra careful when I'm going to be in this position and lean over, right? Because right now, my feet are barely touching the floor, which means I don't have as good a base, right? And so it's like, is this more yoga? I don't know, right? It's different. So, and my mind can learn from difference, right? So I'm going to stay grounded here, and I'm already thinking about how I'm going to stay safe. So I'm going to lean over, right? Now, as I lean over, I want awareness to go from my spine, I'm leaning to the right, and out through my legs. It's easier for my mind to see how it could extend through this back leg, right? So I push on it. It's harder for me to stay more grounded in this leg, right? So when I go to breathe here from this position, I'm going to inhale in a second, and I take my arm wide and extend out. Try to do both legs, knowing I won't be able to do it as well in the leg here. But I'm especially going to try to ground into the right leg on exhalation. So I'm going to inhale. I'm going to exhale, lengthen my spine, and move awareness. And some of you can do it physically through, especially the leg on this side. Now I'm really trying to make sure my inhalation and my exhalation are feeding the change in my legs. And then on the next inhalation, fill the whole vessel. Exhale, take your arm over your head. Inhale, revolve the chest. Feel the legs. Exhale, streamline the spine. Inhale, expand. Exhale, streamline. Good, and then come on up. Be in the center. So again, because your mind tends to be dull, all of ours, and it will respond to change, because at first the change is usually perceived as threat. And this is why older people, including me, don't like change so much. Any change feels like a threat, right? And so I'm taking a couple breaths. I'm going to inhale and come over. And again, this is my more difficult side, so I got to be more careful, right? So now I'm trying to inhale and fill the whole vessel, and exhale and streamline. Right? Yeah, I have a hard time with my front leg. Inhale, take the arm up. Fill the vessel on inhalation. Exhale through all four limbs. Inhale, feel the expansion. Exhale, extend. Inhale, revolve the chest to feel the right leg. Exhale, streamline again. Feel the rib cage expand to fill the vessel. Streamline your action on exhalation. Good, and then come on back to center. Be in the center. Bring your legs back in line, in the midline. Ground them. First by pushing down and lifting up your chest. Take a couple of breaths here, and then lean back, and I'm pushing my hands on my knees and hitting them back, because all this off balance and stuff makes me need to find my legs again, even though I was trying to find them the whole time. And remember, I'm trying to use, especially when I'm trying to ground and come back into homeostasis, being slightly more aware of my exhalation and the effect of the exhalation. And then inhale and take the left arm up. Exhale it, bring it to the side. Inhale, take the other arm behind you. Exhale, lift your chest. Now again, feeling the expansion. As the rib cage expands, I want the pulse of energy to fill your whole vessel. And then exhale and revolve it. Come more into the midline, but now you've got a twist. So you're streamlining into a twist. Good, and then come on back to center. So that's interesting about twists is that it adds a dimension of activation, right? We'll talk about that more in a second. Inhale, take your right arm up. Exhale, bring it. Inhale, find the place where your hand's supposed to be on the chair. Exhale and lift your chest. Inhale, feel the expansion. And as you inhale, keep your consciousness in the bottom of your feet even, in your sitting bones. And then exhale and twist. Inhale, feel the down up expansion. And then streamline and twist on exhalation. Good. And then release. Come on back into center. So if you think about this, like we've been talking about and doing for most of class before that twist, like expanding and what I'm calling streamlining, right? But when we're on exhalation, but the exhalation, although there's more effort in it, right? When you're expanding, when you're extending, right? You're not just receiving. When you're efforting is also when simultaneously your exhale is calming your pose. So you've got an interesting conjoining of effort and calm when you move on exhalation. Now, what a twist does, instead of just streamlining back towards the spine, you're streamlining into a twist in your spine. So it really is quite dynamic. And so, they often talk about twists as taking a dish rag that's wet and like twisting it and letting the water come out, right? Which is why twists are thought to be cleansing or detoxifying, right? Because you're taking out that dirty water, right? But so you're streamlining the energy in your body, but into a very dynamic movement in your spine. Because remember, your spine is the source, in my opinion, your spine is your source of your animation, and your brain just organizes it. So I want you to pay even extra attention to the dynamic increase of how you come into a twist. So remember, you're inhaling your arm up, and you're expanding and exciting, and you're exhaling it, and you're coming forward, and you're inhaling and taking the arm back, and you're exhaling and lifting your chest. So your spine is starting to twist now. So feel the expansion of the inhalation, the revolve. Use your exhalation to revolve the intensity in your spine as it lengthens. But notice soft, calm, let the exhalation calm you, like even focus the energy behind your eyes. So you excite the pose on the inhalation, and you deepen the pose with effort and calming. A couple more breaths. Good, and then come on back to center. Anyone know the song Ooh La La? It's an old song, Ooh La La. I'm feeling that in my spine, like, whoa. Whew. I can feel it, like, well, see, you get really good at feeling stuff. Like my right kidney is a little bit more sluggish than my left, and I can feel stuff like that, right? Because I've been twisting a lot in my life. All right, so I'm finding center, and I'm knowing that if I don't do the other side, I sacrifice balance and equanimity. Right, so then I'm going to inhale and start the excitation. Exhale, come forward, start the movement. Inhale, find the place for my back arm, my left arm. And then exhale and lift my chest and start to twist. Inhale, I'm going to excite and expand in every direction. Exhale, I'm going to streamline into the twist. Inhale, I'm going to open it to fresh air from the outside. Exhale, I'm going to bring it into service into the twist. Couple more breath cycles. My effort and my exertion are streamlining. Good, and then come on back to center. Oh, again, gotta feel that one. So sometimes when you twist really, really deeply, and usually not with this view of a twist, but I'm getting it today, often the flavor or the taste in your mouth will like change, might dry out, and it might, because you're detoxing, you like sometimes like if you ate garlic or if you eat a lot of food that didn't fully agree with you, you can actually taste some of it, right? And so you just sit and you go, dang. Especially garlic, you can actually twist, can actually bring garlic right out through your pores, which I love garlic, so I don't mind that. So now I want you to come forward again. And because undoubtedly you twisted more acutely on one way than the other, right? So you're using the grounding of your forearms, awareness in your sitting bones and feet, right? To create equalness on each side of your spine, especially from the bottom of your spine to about the shoulder blades. And then use your breath, your inhalation, to bring energy into the place that you can't feel as well. So for me, it's the left side of my mid back because of my scoliosis. So now I'm using the symmetry of my body to help my breath find the places with the breast light that are a little bit darker. Because I'm trying to undo overaction or trying to smooth out, especially on exhalation, where I've overworked. I'm trying to give energy to where I underworked, which would be the dark part of the side of my spine. And then using the calming energy of exhalation to calm where I overworked and to fill where I underworked. This exercise gets better as I feel my feet, my sitting bones, and my collarbones. Because you're looking for equanimity. The Bhagavad Gita says yoga is equanimity. So you're trying to, after introducing movement and asymmetrical movement, you're trying to come back to equanimity, especially through the exhale, the grounded exhale. Good, and then come on back to center, sit up a little bit. So my breath, I'm sure it's because of my paralysis, but can be more like I'm in control if I'm slightly leaned forward, right? And remember though, but your breath has a controllable, a voluntary and an involuntary part. So when I sit up straight in the middle, I don't feel as much in control of my breath because I can't feel it as much. There isn't as much tension from being forward. But I'm going to trust this place and take a couple of breaths. Good. And then prepare for Shavasana. So I'm going to put my hands on my thighs. You can be on a bolster. You can lean forward on a table. But you want to really get to where you can allow the chair and the support around you, including the empty space in the room, become part of the calming effect. So your breath should not be extra deep, but your exhalation should help create the emptiness that allows you to receive. Lips together, teeth slightly apart. Soften around the temples, the jaw, the inside of the mouth. Feel your breath. Don't change it. Thank your body. Thank it again. Start to bring yourself back. Slightly deeper inhalation. Slightly longer exhalation. Good. And then when you're ready, you open your eyes. And then close them again. And then open them for the week. You can be aware of things without having to judge them all. Good. So remember, one of the things about Shavasana is that you're not paying particular attention to your breath. You're trying to get it into a state of receiving that even is deeper than your breath. So your breath goes back to involuntary. You might be aware of your breath a little bit as you first come into Shavasana, but the goal is to get even below that, right? And so there's not a lot of breath awareness in Shavasana, right? That's pranayama, and that's different. And so know that you're trying to get to the calming silence that's there. So there's a surrendering in Shavasana that is what gets you there. Not unlike what you feel on the end of exhalation when you're being more active. All right, everybody, hands together if you can. Namaste. Spirit in me bows to the spirit in you.